Hey. No, I'm not doing that. Girl, okay, we know. Instagram is doing the most. Hey, come on into the room. The Dreamcatcher room. I don't know why Instagram is doing the most. Girl, we didn't ask for that. Okay, I get it. Next. Sorry. Instagram is asking me all these questions that nobody cares about. All right. Okay. I am back ish. Come on into the room. Wow. You guys are filling up already. That's awesome. Wow. That's like 800 people on Instagram. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm back, but not all the way and probably never all the way, but I wanted to at least, you know, just come back and kind of update and share, what's been happening. So come on in, tag a friend. It's important because especially now what I'm hoping, one of the reasons why I'm doing this live is quite honestly because I don't want to have to say it 10,000 times. I want to be able to say it, and then that way if a friend, family, or foe asks about me, you can say I know definitively dot 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 dot. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm not going to be looking at the comments because y'all not going to like, it's just going to be distracting. So for those of you who are not aware, in November of last year, my husband passed away suddenly. He had an aneurysm. Literally, it was a Monday, and then by like Thursday, he was gone. He was young. I mean, I'm only 42, he's 41. And so, obviously, understandably so, it was beyond devastating. So, I don't even know. I don't really have much. Well, that's not true. You know me. I always got the teacher me. I don't typed up notes so I wouldn't forget in case I get overwhelmed. But I had to just thank y'all because the monsoon, I can't even call it like a flood. The monsoon of love and care and outreach. I probably received like 100 bouquets. My house looked like a flower shop. Had thousands of messages, tens of thousands actually. It was, I mean, at the time I couldn't obviously like process all of it, but in retrospect, I just, went back to look at some of them. It was just, I just want to thank you for that. I mean, for those of you who followed me, even just for a little bit, you know how I felt about Superman. That's what my husband's nickname was. And so I don't really want to talk much about him just because, damn it, I just didn't want to cry. I told myself I wasn't going to cry. So, but I just wanted to give you an update. So, just because I think it's important to set expectations and boundaries. So, after Jarrell passed away, I don't think anything brings more clarity than great loss. And so, his death brought me like, I mean, if y'all been following my lives, then you already know there's so many things that I talked to you about that I wanted to do that like, that I want to take a step back. I remember, I don't know if some of y'all remember that I used to say like my biggest goal was for everybody to say I fell off. And then behind the scenes, I'm out here just doing it. I want to be, some of y'all are too young to understand this, but I wanted to be less Jay-Z, more Sean Carter. And so if I'm looking back and forth, it's because I have it on like YouTube and then my phone. Um, so I had already had that in mind, but I didn't know how to do it. I'm not gonna lie. I had built this conglomerate of a series of businesses. I know people just see me as a budgetista, but I had 5 businesses that I was running, and all of them were profitable. 2 of them were multi-million-dollar businesses, um, and it was good, but it just got to be so heavy, and I didn't know how to slow the train down because the train was successful, and so many people I felt like depended on the train. But after Jerome passed away, I was like, I just felt like a balloon that has just like the air had been let out. And I had to do some, when someone passes away, there's things you have to do like legally and all this kind of stuff. So I did all of that, but then I spent then I got my team, together, and thankfully, I had been working on removing myself over the last 2 years from doing so much. So although it wasn't super easy, I was able to step back, and then so I haven't been, obviously you haven't seen me on social media just because why, and I mean you might have seen me, but that's not me. Like, I mean, it's my unicorn squad, my team. Um, I went to Bali for almost 2 months by myself. I used to traveling by myself. Before I got married, I traveled all the time by myself. Um, and I just knew that I needed a break, just from everything and everyone. And, after I got all of our affairs in order, I went to Bali. And that's where I was. I just got back not too long ago. And it was a break visually because Bali is absolutely uh, gorgeous. If you've never been, it is. If New Jersey is regular color, Bali is Technicolor. It's like the island is in neon. So it was just so nice every day to see something beautiful. And also, too, the Balinese are known for their kindness. So it just overwhelmed with kindness and love in Bali. Something told me to go. I'd never been before, but I just was like, I want to go to Bali. And so I did. And I'm glad that I did because it helped me to gain clarity about, well, I still don't know what I'm going to do next, but at least it helped me to gain clarity about what I'm not going to do. And you know what's so crazy? Like, I thought, so I'll just say this because I know a lot of you are worried about me, but I'm grateful in that a long time ago, I learned to ask for help. And so, if y'all know, if you followed my lives before, I had an amazing coach, Dr. Green, who was a therapist. But she wasn't able to be my therapist at the time, but so she became my coach. And so she was amazing. But something told me to reach out to her. She wasn't able to be my therapist because she's not based in New Jersey. And, legally you have to be based in the state. But because of COVID and the pandemic, they recently, in the last few months, allowed therapists to get passes to other states. And wouldn't you have it, she got a pass to New Jersey. And I reached out to her just when I was just drowning. And she was like, I just got my New Jersey pass and I can be a therapist. And she was amazing as a coach. And so she has been like such a saving grace. I started therapy with her in Bali. So I share these things because one, I mean, so many people have lost folks, and obviously I don't know all the things, but these are some of the things that have just helped me. So therapy for sure, if you're able. So that's been really helpful. But also, it I one of the activities Dr. Green had me do when I was away is to write down what did I miss when I was away, and what didn't I miss. And one of the things I missed most was this. I really love teaching. I love mentoring. I love pouring into y'all. And I missed it. There was times in Bali where I legit would see something or learn something or experience something and want to go live just to share and teach it. So I realized that I still want to teach. What I didn't miss was being a boss. I know it's so sexy on social media, but like, I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I've been really successful, honestly. I've made $30 million in the last 10 years of business. I have 5 successful businesses. 25 plus like at our peak employees, many of which were getting paid 6 figures a year. But I don't like being a boss. I didn't. I really just like doing the work. It's not as sexy or as fancy or as braggable, but it just made me really, really think. Like, I hated the meetings, although my team is awesome. I hated having to worry about all the nuanced things. I just want to teach. And so I stepped down from my biggest business, the Literature Academy. I'm no longer the CEO of that business. It's just about 8 figures a year. And I was like, nope, thankfully, there's a Tamara. Shout out to Tamara. She's amazing. She's worked with me since I started that business. And I promoted her. I was like, girl, you CEO, bye. And left for Bali. Of course, I'm here to coach and to guide behind the scenes, but I don't have to worry about none of that day to day. It feels so good. Also, too, I had one other business that was slightly stressful. It was profitable, but I didn't want to do it anymore. So I closed it down. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. So I closed it. And then I looked at the Budgetnista. Um, so the Budgetnista is my main business. Like, well, I won't say that. So the Literature Academy makes the most. The Budgetnista comes right after that. But that's the business I think that is more in alignment with how I want to navigate. But even the Budgetnista, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I was less clear, and I'm still less clear about what I want to do, but really clear about what I'm not going to do. And one of the things that I'm grateful for is that I can say that, you know, and it's so crazy because I know I've been teaching y'all for like the last 13 years financial education, and I know that it works, but I didn't know how well it really works until Jarrell passed away, and I got to just miss him. I didn't have to worry about money. And it just made me realize, like, yo, I got to be really proud of the work that I do because I don't have to work anymore. The stuff that I teach y'all, it's the same food that I eat is what I give y'all. And I don't have to work anymore. And I get to just look and say, what is it that I want to do? I'm 42 years old and I don't have to work anymore. And the truth is, I probably could have done that sooner, but I was too afraid to cut the cord, you know? And so, but death brings clarity. And a lot of the things I used to talk to Dr. Green, my therapist, about, like, oh, no, I want to do this, but I can't. I want to do this, but I can't. Literally within a month, everything that I could not do, I could not let go of some folks because I felt so bad because they were good people, but having them on board meant that I had to continue to work at a certain level. I could not say no to all these opportunities. I could not step down as CEO of my big business. I could not. Once Jarrell passed away, I did all of that within 3 weeks. And it made me realize that these options were always available, although they're hard. Yes, these were hard things, but I could have done this. It just required me to do what was hard. And I am not going back to that life before, because the truth of the matter is I realized, like, a lot of the work that I was putting in before was because there was a certain Jarrell grew up in a way that I wanted him to see more of life, And so I put in the work so that way he could experience those things. So a lot of my hard work, it was based upon joint plans. And now that that's not happening, I'm kind of like, what do I've had those things already. I'm not really motivated. I mean, I'm always where my target's best. I ask myself, because I always used to say baby millionaire because I didn't want to admit that I was a millionaire because I felt like, not ashamed of it, but like I wanted to downplay. No, I've been a millionaire since I was 37, if I'm being all the way honest. I'm 42 now, and I've worked really hard. And, I had a really great relationship with my husband in that we were really open and we talked about our finances. And 3 years ago, we got a financial advisor on board, which changed our lives. I was good at making money. I was good at saving money, but there was a next level of management. I had never been a millionaire before. I didn't grow up in a millionaire household. My parents were immigrants from Nigeria, so I didn't know how to navigate at a certain level of wealth. And so my financial advisor got us together, and I'm so grateful that she did, because when Jarrell passed away, I would say 85 to 90% of our ducks were in a row. And it made us every quarter when we sat with her talk about our money. We would talk beforehand. We would do our homework that she assigned to us. And then we would sit with her to go over it and then see what the next thing was. I cannot imagine if I had not put that in place 3 years ago. It would have just been a mess, honestly. I get to just miss my husband because of the financial choices that I've made. And, I just, I'm really grateful, for that. And I'm wanting the same for you. I always used to always say, like, I cannot want for myself and not want for you too. And I'm wanting the same for you. So I just, yeah, like, a lot of major changes have been made. Like, if you were to look at my calendar now, it used to be a good short day was 4 meetings a day was like, whoa, girl, you have nothing on your calendar. Now I told my admin I don't want more than 4 meetings in a week. A week. Most days I don't have anything to do. Well, that's not true. I read, I take walks, I hang out with my niece and my nephew who live down the street. I talk to my sisters on the phone. Like I exercise, I take naps, I sit on the couch and just look out the window. Um, and it's because of the choices I've made over the last 10 years. One of the things that I, the lessons that I've learned, in life is that life is really cumulative. It's not one thing that put me in a position that the loss of my husband just meant the loss of him. Not everything is that, like, I see all of these choices, some seemingly small, but it adds up to this life where I get to just grieve him and get to just figure out what does that mean? I don't have to worry about a mortgage. I don't have a mortgage. I have 2 homes, no mortgage. I don't have to worry about a car note. When he passed away, there was no debt. He had like, I think like $100 on his credit card because of some sneakers that he bought me. And so he left no credit card debt. I have a stepdaughter. There's no child support payments because he had partial custody. Jarrell, I just am so grateful that if something like this had to happen, I get to be present and just grieve him, you know? And so I thought to myself, so what does that mean now? And now is like, what does teaching look like for me? Like, what does that, like I said, because I don't have to work anymore. I am financially whole and financially free, and that if I don't make any more money, then, I'll still be fine. But what does that really mean? I know I don't want to just sit home, and honestly, Dr. Green would tell me, you don't have to figure it out just now, but I know that, like, I'm not doing all that I was doing before. It was overwhelming. And I was on the train of like, social media is something else. That's why I've not been on, because I was so ready to sit down and then everybody is running. It's like a horror movie. You see everybody running and you feel like, well, I guess I should be running too. Even though someone was like, well, girl, you can sit down. It's like, well, no, everyone else is running. I ought to run too. I'm not running no more. I'm sitting down. Y'all can have it, like, I don't need to be the hottest chick in the game wearing his chain. Like, I just thought like I gotta be number one in this financial game, and I realized, but what end? What is it that I was working toward that I didn't already have? Literally, I was like, okay, so Tiffany, let's just say you had $100 million in the bank. How different would your life look? Would you buy a new car? Okay, yeah. Well, what kind of car? And could you buy it now? Yeah. I'm not going to get a Lamborghini. If I got a new car, maybe say it was an Audi, but I can afford. Would you buy another house? Yeah, maybe I would buy a house in this cute little neighborhood that's not far from where I live in Newark. But the truth of the matter is, I can get that house now. So it was like, what am I working toward? I've already paid off my parents' house. I've already paid off my student loan debt with one check. I've already paid off all my mortgages, all the car notes. I don't have any debt. I'm debt free, like a 6-year-old. There's almost nothing that I can't buy that I not only can I not buy it, but buy it cash, including a home. What are you working toward? What are you working toward? And so I just refuse to make myself busy it's almost like what we do is we tell ourselves, I got to put in all this work so one day I don't have to put in all this work. But that's not really how that works. You don't make yourself busy to make yourself not busy. You know what I mean? And so, like, yeah. But one thing, like I said, that I do miss is mentoring. I have about 10 mentees. Some of them are on here. I know I haven't called you because, quite honestly, I don't want to talk about it. And I know when I call you, and even if I see you out and about, I just want to say, like, although I appreciate it, it is a bit triggering in that I don't want to talk about it. You don't have to offer your condolences. I see it in your face and I appreciate it. But the truth is, when I am out at Whole Foods or Marshalls or wherever, it is a reprieve from, like, I wouldn't say missing Jarrell, but during the day, my expectation is he's at work. So when I'm out and about, I can almost pretend that things are normal. And so, if I see you at Whole Foods, at Marshalls, at wherever, and you come up to me, Staples, like that happened today, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Although I appreciate it and I know you mean well, I'm not gonna lie, it triggers, not for everybody, but for me, because what it does is that it brings that into the present where I am right now. And I'm just like, so I just like, if you see me and if you're one of my mentees and you're watching, and I see a bunch of you are, I haven't called you because I don't want to hear, I'm so sorry. It's a lot. You think I don't cry every day? Of course I do. So I don't, just honestly go back to the same thing they used to do before, harassing me about your credit score. Ask me, girl, what bank should I use? Like real quick, while you squeezing the mangoes, my credit score, I love that. When I tell you I love that, I love that. I will keep you for 20 minutes talking your ear off about how to get your money right. I love that, you know? Um, and so like, that all day, every day, that never bothers me. You can stop me wherever I am. I mean, I have been at the gynecologist and people have been like, Janista, girl, real quick. And I'm like, you know what? Say less. So when it comes to paying down your debt, like literally, like I love that. So, but yeah, I don't, you know, I'm working through it and I believe a healthy way. Like I said, I have a therapist, I've got really great friends and family. When I'm out and about, honestly, what makes me feel better is being of service to you. Honestly, that's what makes me feel better. It's of being of service to you. Um, so what now? So I will be half on, half off. Well, not really. I'll be on social media when I am obligated to be. Because I'm not gonna lie, I came back to like, you know, um, a still a robust business as the Budgetnista. But it will still be the unicorn squad when I don't have to be here. But I still want to connect. I was struggling with that. I said, because if y'all remember, I love going live. Literally, do I have my thing with me? I've got this like little notebook that I bought. I think it's over there. Yeah, I'm not gonna get it. This little red notebook that I bought because I had been bursting at the seams with lessons, financial lessons and business lessons, because that's what we used to do. Remember, I used to go live and I would pour into you because once I learned a thing, it literally, I cannot hold it. The joy in teaching just takes over. It is my happy place. It is the zone for me. I love doing so. So I've been keeping this notebook, this little red notebook of like all these lessons that I've learned about business, about life, about finances that I just can't wait to share with y'all. But I've been struggling because quite honestly, I don't want to do it here on Instagram because I don't want to get caught up. So I was struggling with what what does that look like? Because the truth is, and I think I mentioned I was going to do this before, but I'm really going to lean into it, that I have my like 10 hardcore mentees who like, I talk on the phone with them, but the issue is I can't have 30 mentees. So I said, what does that look like? So this is what I've decided, that I am going to take my mentorship to Patreon. And here's why I'm excited about that. I started to write down like some of like my accomplishments. And I was like, dang, this sounds like you. I was asking my sister, I was like, what things have I done? And she was listing. So over 2 million women I've helped on their financial journey. I have started and grown 5 successful businesses, which 2 are multi-million-dollar companies. I've made 8 figures a year in business. I made over $30 million since I started my business. I used to be a preschool teacher, like a little over 10 years ago. And so, yeah, since then, $30 million in business, not take home, but in business, which I can't even believe. I've hired, coached, and led with kindness, I believe, an amazing team of 25 plus employees that I call my unicorn squad. I've managed my finances and grown my personal net worth to 7 figures. I wrote and launched my New York Times bestseller. Y'all see it behind me, Get Good with Money. That happened last year. And I found out while I was away that this book was the #1 selling new personal financial book in 2021. It sold more than any other financial book that launched in 2021. I can't even believe it. I stayed on the New York Times for 8 weeks, which is like crazy. I've been all up on your TV, GMA, Good Morning America, Today Show, The Real, magazines. I was the first Black woman on the cover by herself on Money magazines, newspapers, podcasts, blogs every week, nominated for NAACP Image Award, which is like, I can't believe that happened. I got a financial law passed in the state of New Jersey. I want to say like 3 years ago, called the Budgetnista Law, or A1414. I co-host a top award-winning podcast. If you don't listen to Brown Ambition, it's been 6 years. I partnered with some of the biggest brands in the world, spoken on some of the biggest stages in the country. I believe I've maintained my integrity to do so. I mean, there's never been a Budgetnista scandal in the 13 years I've been in business. And I've been able to achieve success on my own terms, all while really living a richer life and really achieve financial freedom, um, and take care of my family. And so I want all the lessons that I've learned. If you're my mentee that I call every week, you know that I pour this into y'all. But quite honestly, sometimes I have more. And I've seen, and this is no shade to anyone. We are in the time and place where everything is big ticket item. That's the thing, meaning that like everybody's like, like, I don't know, like everybody's course is like $10,000. And I'm like, that's cool. But one of my tenets for myself is, how do I make what I do accessible? So one of my things I always share with y'all, you don't have to spend any money with me to get help. So it doesn't mean that I won't occasionally do a live on IG, because I know everybody don't have it. But what I am going to do is, my Patreon is $10 a month, even though I know people are going to be mad, because typically if you're getting coached by someone who quite honestly has accomplished all that I've accomplished, you're looking at, thousands of dollars, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars. But the reason even why I'm doing $10 a month is because I said I have a passion project that I've worked on since I taught preschool. I don't know if some of y'all, many of y'all know I launched this children's book called Molly Moore. I wanted to teach, just like I teach the mamas, I wanted to teach the babies age-appropriate financial education. So after I got that law passed in New Jersey, I was like, what about the little ones? And so I created this character. I wanted her to look like me, because this is how my hair looks when it's not locked. This is my skin. But this is my passion project. She don't have to make no money. And what I was doing before is I was funding her out of pocket. But the problem with funding her out of pocket is that I get this anxiety that she has to make money to pay me back. And I don't want that. So I said, how can I do Molly Moore so I can basically give it away to the babies through the mamas without having to worry about funding it? And I said, you know what, Tiffany, what if you do Patreon, $10 a month, to make it as low as possible. And then the Patreon funds this. Like literally, I have an illustrator. You should see, I got a theme song made for her. It is so cute. And I want to just create a series of videos that I upload for free on YouTube. So when you're like, how do I teach my kids about money, the little ones, it's like, oh, Tiffany got us, And so, but I don't want to worry about making money off of it. And so, like I said, if I can, my goal is, okay, how do I fund it without the worry? And so I was like, okay, you know what? Patreon, $10 a month. I am going to be doing digital mentoring. It's already open. If someone could type it in the comments, mymentortiffany.com, mymentortiffany.com. If you go to mymentortiffany.com, it takes you to Patreon. There's already like 4 videos there and like 4 audios there. But what it's going to look like is I will do at minimum 1 live a month, because I don't want to overpromise. Although you know me, I'm chatty. It's going to be more than that, but I want to promise 1 live a month. Sometimes the live will just be a lesson. Sometimes the live will be a Q&A where you guys get to ask me your questions. And then also too, I'm going to share resources. I mean, if you're one of my mentees, you're probably sick of me. Like my sister's one of my mentees, my Julie's on here. But one of the things I do is that, like, as I'm an avid reader. So there are some books that are transformational that I'll be sharing. Like I just finished reading The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. That has helped me a lot with the grief, because it's about stoicism and learning how to change the things you have control over and release those things that you cannot. And so that helps tremendously. But in business, there's so many books. Like I probably read at least a book a month, sometimes a book a week. And then just so many lessons. When I tell you, I am brimming with lessons. I didn't think that, like, I was like, I'm not really like a mentor, am I? I mean, one of my friends, I won't say her name because I don't want to put all her business out there. But she told me we were sitting on a panel together because she's like big time. And so she used to always say, "You're my mentor." I'm like, "Girl, we're the same age. So we're friends that just talk about business." And she was like, on the panel, someone asked her key to success. And she said, "Tiffany." I was like, "Say a word." And she said, "Tiffany's my mentor. And when I first started like being Tiffany's mentee, I was struggling to make six figures a year in business." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "This year, 2 years later, we crossed over at $2 million." I was like, I had no idea. I said, "What the hell did I say?" I don't even know. Because to be honest, when I mentor, I don't mentor to like say, "Here's how I'm going to get you 100 to 100,000." No, I mentor to get you better. Like that is my way. Like I'm not here to help you hit a quota or whatever. It's like, no, here's the lesson. Like although I know many of my mentees I have mentored, and they've gotten to six figures, that the year that I started mentoring them. And so because when I say I've learned so many lessons to make $30 million as a woman, especially a Black woman, especially a dark skinned Black woman who's natural, uh, I'm even shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking up the numbers so I could share with you. I was like, wait, what the hell? Like, I I just have so many lessons. If you see, I wish I had my little notebook. I have just been keeping every time I learn a lesson, like I literally carry it with me everywhere. It's like right out of reach because there are so many things that I have learned that I don't know why people keep them to themselves. I mean, I get it. I guess you want to charge your $20,000 for people to tell you, but I'm about to give it to you for $10. And so, yeah. So if you want to join, it's mymentortiffany.com. And one of the things that you can expect is, like I said, it's a guaranteed one live a month and then the recording. So if you miss it, I'm sure we'll use some text message to like make sure that, for those of you who are in the group, I will occasionally still go live here on IG, not often, but occasionally. But because like I said, you don't have to pay me to get help, but really that's where I'm going to focus my time and my energy because I don't have to, with IG, after you go live, you still have to, there's just so much thrown at you even after you go live that I'm just not interested in. I want to just create a community where I get to pour out all of this knowledge that I've accumulated, that has put me in a position to not have to worry financially, to not have to work anymore if I don't want to. Like I'll give you an example. I'm trying to think if I should say it, but whatever. I believe in transparency. So I've been gone since basically last November after Joel passed away. And just as of this year, I came back to, I don't even know, like $850,000 worth of business of people who were like, "I'll wait for Tiffany to come back." Because they knew, I said, "Well, I'm not coming back until maybe April, maybe May." And they were like, "Put me down for this amount of money. All I want her to do is this small thing." And I couldn't believe, I'm like, wait, what? And so how? And so here's just a quick lesson, right? This is like I teach this lesson all the time, is that your excellence will make room for you. What does that mean? That when you bring excellence to the table, a space will be made. Think about where you go to get your eyebrows done or get your hair done or get your car done. Even if you move from that town, it's very likely you still drive all the way there to get those things done. Because when someone brings excellence to the table, you will go back because you rather inconvenience yourself than try to have to find someone new that's going to be excellent. So when you're excellent, I have spent 13 years developing visible excellence. And so as a result, I mean, some of the contracts I've gotten, I'm like, "You want me to do what? These three things for how much?" And I'm like, why? Why? Because I have been bringing consistent excellence to the table. I don't have to be the biggest. I don't have to be the baddest. That does not matter. Consistent excellence for 13 years. So as a result, I can, without even being here, pull in nearly $1 million in Q1 without being here. And I was like, because the problem with social media is that it teaches you that you get to those things quickly. And that's not true. That's not true for most things. I'm not saying you can't. There are people who don't have this this instant glow up for a second, but to sustain that 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 13 years, That doesn't just come from just a little bit here, a little bit. No, it comes from consistently delivering excellence and integrity. And so as a result, that's why I said, first of all, one, I have set aside enough in my investments where I don't have to work anymore. But aside from that, look what's coming in. I don't even have to touch what's being invested. I could just, when I say I'm not even doing 1/4 of the work that I was doing before, not 1/4 of the work, and yet look what's flooding in. Why? Because excellence is like planting seeds. I have planted so many seeds. Let's just say they're apple trees. That my orchard has so many trees I'll never not pick. 13 years of planting means at any moment in time, even if I never plant another seed, I can go to my orchard of excellence, of consistent behavior, of showing up, of showing out, of over delivery. I can pick a fruit at any time. I don't even have to, like, there's fruit that I have stored in the freezer. That's my investments. I don't even have to worry about that. I can leave that to my nieces and my nephew and whoever. Just alone, I can bring my own seven figures just from of the work that I've done. And so I want to show you like that. And I'm not here to like, poo-poo on anyone else, but I'm here to open the door of realistic success. Not to, you could make $1 million in a year. Yeah, you can, but very few people are going to do that. But you can set yourself up that you develop the type of business that puts you in that position. I can step away and people said, I will wait. I'm like, it's like my eyebrows. You see they look flying? Okay. Kim in Plainfield, Nail 3000. That's where I've been going there since I was 15 years old. Not even Kim anymore, actually it's Lisa, right? So Kim started them. But when I call, because meanwhile, I live in Newark. Plainfield's like a good 25-minute, 30-minute drive away for eyebrows. I call, is Lisa there? Lisa's on vacation. Well, Lisa's on vacation. My eyebrows are on vacation too, right? Because I want to go to who I know is going to deliver. How do you do that? And so that's why I started mymentortiffany.com. Like, because the lessons of how do you get there? How do you, like, what I really like when I look at my body of work is that it's not just like, oh, she's a good speaker. It's like you have a New York Times bestseller. Oh, you have a podcast. Oh, you've been on TV, Good Morning America, Today Show. How do you do that? It's like I have been able to tap into all of these nuanced areas of success and figured out how to rock and sock it. Like, I think, was it today? Yes, today I had a call, huge new partner that's been waiting on me, like, when does Tiffany come back? When does Tiffany come back? When does Tiffany come back? Big, big contract. And they were asking me, like, so what, when you do your keynote, what do you think it's like? Here's what we need from you. When you do your keynote, what are you thinking? When I started spinning, I was like, well, I was thinking I could start with this and then this, and then we could do this and this and that. And literally the lady said, Tiffany, listening to you off the top of your head, break down all of this for us is mind-blowing. You're amazing. That's practice at delivering excellence. And so, yeah, when I tell you, I'm just brimming. If you could see my little notebook of just lessons that I cannot wait to pour into y'all, and I love that fact. I mean, I know, here's the thing, 10, 15 years ago, well, no, probably like 13 years ago, during the Great Recession, I lost my job. And honestly, I probably couldn't afford $10 a month. I'm not going to lie. But I'm hoping that the majority of people that want to sign up at mymentortiffany.com, that the $10 is not a strain for them. But like I said, I will still on occasion come to Instagram and free platforms to still pour into y'all. I mean, there's still going to be a ton of free resources that you'll get, but I'm talking about me coming live. But I am going to focus most of my energy there because one, I want to see you win in a way that's sustainable. Not the fake social media stuff, but sustainable and real, And so, I just can't, if I tell you, like, I cannot wait because it's the thing that brings me joy. If anything else right now, I could use some joy. And so pouring into y'all, it's the thing that brings me joy. And I can't wait to do that. And so, yeah, mymentortiffany.com. and it's $10. If I'm trying to think, because I don't want to make any promises, but at least within 2 weeks, I'm gonna try next week, but within 2 weeks, because honestly, knowing me, I might even go live tomorrow. But within 2 weeks, I will have our first. I want to give you guys some time. I will have our first. We'll have our first session live. And so, I could talk, like, because here I'm trying to keep it cute, but there we might go 2 hours, because honestly, I love it. And so, you'll be able to ask questions when we have our Q&As. When I really learn a lesson, how do you negotiate? How do you get brands to pay you like the big bucks? How do you plan for speaking engagement? I used to be a teacher. How, like, I was just talking to my friend Glow, and I was sharing with her, I know exactly how to get a bestseller now. Because when I wrote this book, it was 2 years of planning before the book came out. Like, success is not, it's not accidental for most people. It's not like, if you only knew how far in advance I'll be planning things out. Like, when people are like, oh, you definitely gonna get a New York Times bestseller, Tiffany, it's you. No. If I didn't do all of these, like, literally, I studied ahead of time. I always study. If you know me, a good teacher is a better student. I studied ahead of time. I found a guide. So a guide meaning a person that has done it, who is similar to me. Doesn't have to be a woman or a Black woman, just similar to me, meaning like, there was a person who hit the New York Times bestsellers list and was not known, like, to the world. I mean, y'all know me, but like the world at large does not. And I listened to all the podcasts that he was on, talking about how he got his New York Times bestseller. I called my friend Lucky, who has a New York Times bestseller. I asked the publisher, and I started to create. So I first identify the goal. I find a guide. I gather as much information as possible. Then I start to piece together a game plan, and then I work the plan. It was so much work. It was not, becoming a bestseller was not, hey, I'm here, I have a book. If you only knew, But now I know. And I can guarantee you the next book is going to be bigger, because there's one small thing. Well, it's not a small thing, but there's one thing I forgot to do. I won't say I forgot to do, but now I know to do that. So I know that if I ever write a second book, it's on like Donkey Kong. But bigger than that, I can't wait to tell you those steps. Because why should you be struggling? Why should you have to do all that? We're going to talk about it in Patreon. Because honestly, some things too, I don't feel comfortable speaking about it in like wide open spaces. I don't. And so I just can't wait to pour in to y'all, I can't wait to pour into y'all, because like I said, there's so many lessons that I have learned in 13 years of business, from how to hire the right people, how to be a good leader, how to fire someone, how to have a business partner in one of my businesses, how to choose the right business partner, how do you grow wealth? How do you figure out how to find a financial advisor? And not just that, because I believe that a good mentor is also a sponsor. If you're one of my mentees where I call, I give you the resources of, this is who I use, And so it won't just be me saying, here's some ideas. It's like, no, these are the actual tools and resources I use, because I do my homework. I'm not saying I always get it right, but I promise you, I do my research. I never have to apologize to say, I know I shared that thing, it was crap. You don't hear me say that. Why? Because I don't share nothing that I don't do my research on. And so, like, I'm excited to share those resources with you that I use personally, and the people that I lean into personally, that have helped to transform my life. So yeah. So like I said, hopefully I will see you in my digital mentoring program, $10 a month. mymentortiffany.com. Yeah. And so just thank y'all. Honestly, I'll say this, despite the grief, there's still joy to be had, and life is truly for the living. And I am of the belief that one day you do get to see your loved ones again. And if you are struggling through loss, like I am, I had to wrap my mind around that one day I will see my husband again. I thought about it, and one of the things that helped me reframe my grief is when I used to teach preschool, and I'll end with this. When I used to teach preschool, the first couple of weeks of teaching, there would always be kids, two types of kids. It was the kid that you dropped off and they were like, bye, mommy, see you later. And they played with their friends, ate their snack, took their nap. And then there was the kid that you dropped off and they cried the whole time until their mother came to pick them up. And I always wondered, like, the kid that cried the whole time, I'm like, you get dropped off, but I promise you get picked up. But what you do in the meantime, you could really enjoy that meantime. And they refused to. And so I thought to myself, as I was like, because I'm not going to lie, when Jarrell passed away, I had almost decided I was just going to be like, well, I'm just going to wait it out. I'm just not going to do anything. I quit everything. I'm just going to sit back and just wait. And I thought to myself, you are the kid that's getting dropped off and has decided that even though your mom is going to pick you up one day, like one day we all pass away, we don't escape, dying one day, that even though that's guaranteed for everyone, there's the middle. There's snacks, there's friends, there's naps, there's toys. So you have the opportunity to still enjoy that. You have the opportunity to still enjoy that because in the end, that your mom is going to pick you up either way. And so, it's been hard, but I just remember that like, Tiffany, you could waste this time and not do the thing you love, do the thing you enjoy, pour into people, hug your family and friends, love on y'all, pour into y'all, mentor you, teach. You could not do that waiting for till you're 80, maybe that's my time, I don't know. Or, I can figure out life in the meantime. So I'm hoping for those of you who are struggling like I am, that is a word. So honestly, really thank y'all. For real. You guys help me like with purpose. And so I'm grateful for that. Yes. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.